Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm not sure where this is. Is this going to be on IGTV or if it's going to be on YouTube? I'm not sure yet, but anyway, so today I'm going to talk about my business journey, and I think I want to do this so it's kind of like relevant or helpful, valuable to people. So I want to do it in a way that kind of, so I also talk about more, not just my business journey but my business model, because I think that could be like valuable to people. Obviously my business journey is very personal and everybody's will be completely different, but I can talk about my background and how I came to be doing what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So I'm going to start off with, and obviously I'm doing this video because I was asked to do it, and I do think like right now when we're in this time where a lot of people's futures in their careers or their current job roles or companies or whatever is uncertain, like a lot is uncertain, and I feel like this could be beneficial to people who are probably going to have to become a little bit more resourceful and potentially have to start doing their own thing to generate some money, some extra money, or for a period of time, or just for people that have always wanted to do something and now see this as their opportunity to do so. I feel like I'm trying to target those kind of people that are very early in the start of their business, thinking about doing their business. I feel like my journey might be able to help someone, and obviously I have been asked to do this video, so at least it will help that person, if nobody else, I hope. So I'm just going to start off with my background. I have a degree in English and creative writing, and I have a master's in fashion and lifestyle journalism. When I finished my degree, I got my first job was writing in an advertising company, a digital advertising company, writing the ad copy. So although it was a written role, it was very much digitally focused. And then from there I went on to another role, which was also building the online presence for a independent English language college. So they were both digital roles that involved me doing a lot of writing. So obviously my background, I mean a lot of what my qualifications are all like writing based, like journalism and obviously English and creative writing. However, I went immediately into digital roles. So I was using my writing skills to be applied to marketing and digital and advertising, because at that time when I just left uni, everything was like going online and everything was becoming, it was very obvious that content was becoming very much a crucial part of business and of people's marketing mix, and just the overall, you know, the internet obviously changed the dynamic of how we kind of consume information, and it relied very heavily on written content to be populated on websites and on Google. And so that's kind of where I started out, creating written content for digital purposes. I went and got a job at the English language college. That was my last job that I had before I decided I would go on and do a master's. I did a master's in fashion journalism. I've always been extremely passionate about fashion. It's just been something that, just as much as I love writing, is just as much as I love fashion. They are just two things that just come very naturally to me and that I love. So I thought, why not do something where I can do fashion and writing? So I went to do a master's in fashion journalism, and I did that when I was 27 years old. 27, my God, how long ago is that? 8 years ago? So, oh my God, that makes me feel so very old. Anyway, so I did my master's at 27 years old, or maybe I finished it at 27 years old, I can't remember. Anyway, so I did my master's in fashion and lifestyle journalism, and then I went back into digital again, and I worked in travel and I worked in fashion. So when I finished my master's and I got my first job, which was at the digital travel company, I had produced I basically self-published my own magazine, which obviously I used lots of different kind of writing skills, journalism skills. So there was like trend reports, there was investigative journalism, there was like travel writing, there was lots of kind of broad elements of kind of journalism just to show all my skills. And I'd obviously self-published this magazine, and I sent this out to lots of different companies and was, you know, just like trying to get a job. I think I did about a week's work experience at Marie Claire at the time, and then I got offered this job in this digital travel company. Obviously I saw myself going more into fashion and more into print, but it was undeniable the amount of online opportunity there was. So I was kind of like, I can't fight against the inevitable here. Like, this is clearly where my skill set is required at the moment. So I went into that digital travel company, and it wasn't even off the back of my magazine. Obviously my magazine was something that, you know, set me apart from, you know, anybody else who's just sending in a CV. But the hiring manager at the time said he was actually more impressed with my ability to market the magazine. Obviously I was using lots of different platforms and lots of like online you know, tools to really push my magazine out there. In the meantime, I had this blog that I'd been running ever since, you know, for the past 15 years. I've always just had as a hobby. I wasn't like trying to be a blogger at the time or anything. I was just writing. I was just kind of like recording my thoughts, writing trend reports, writing things about fashion, sharing my favorite, you know, shoes off the Gucci catwalk, and just putting it on a blog. I'd been doing that for years and years and years, like throughout my whole career, throughout my masters. I'd always just had a blog. Then I had this magazine, and what happened was I started to have this blog and I started to build up a little bit of a following. So what I was like, oh my god, people were actually reading this stuff. So then I learned how to market my blog. So I was like then using Twitter and Facebook, and I was just using all these different platforms and all these different like social media tools and whatever to just try and push my blog out there. So before I'd even got my first role in marketing, I was actually accumulating these marketing skills at the same time I was writing. So my hiring manager said that he was actually really impressed with my you know, all the digital stuff I had online. So like my blog, I'd put a digital version of my magazine on a platform called Issue, which is like a platform for like self-published, digitally published magazines. So I had my magazine on there. It's still on there now. So I was doing all of these things, and I was just becoming very digitally savvy, I suppose, without even realizing it. And that's why every time I came out of like uni and tried to get into print or creative writing or whatever, I just always ended up in digital. And then I think by the time I had, you know, midway between my time at the digital travel company that I was at, I really started to embrace digital, and I really loved it. And I loved kind of all the, not only just the writing the content and creating these like beautiful pages, and you know, like building, obviously because I also build websites as well, so creating like beautiful websites and all this sort of stuff, but I was really enjoying the technical side of it. I think that just kind of grounded all of my creative skills and made me feel like I had something else, like the tech element, like the SEO element, the fact that I could build websites. So it just kind of made me feel like all of my skills had come into one. And I'll tell you one thing, I have, why, you know, obviously people, anyone can just pay someone to build a website for them, but anyone can also learn how to build a website if they want to. It's about, I think the key is with digital, and to really understand, like, I think like the element of like building a website and understanding these kind of functionalities and how best to create the website is about patience. And I think I just always had the patience to learn and understand, and that's why I have got a lot of what I am doing is self-taught. Apart from obviously my written skills, the kind of the marketing and my tech skills, of course then I became employed and learnt through my employer. But I got to the point where I was being employed by these tech companies because of, I just learnt it on my own. And my roles have always been very much to produce content for marketing purposes. So my roles have relied heavily on my like written and communication skills, but they have been employed by like marketing departments. So when I was at the digital travel company, I was managing kind of like the editorial content on the company's website and SEO, as well as lots of content creation and campaign creation. I was there for 4 years, and then I moved over into a fashion tech company, Farfetch, which, you know, if you're a luxury fashion lover and you love to shop online, then you probably know Farfetch. It's like then kind of similar to Net-a-Porter, that kind of vibe, but a little bit different. I was doing a lot more kind of like SEO, like a lot more kind of search engine optimization. I was building campaigns for bloggers, creating blogger events, hosting blogger events. I was doing lots of content creation, online PR, influencer marketing, campaign creation, coming up with creative ideas to entice bloggers to want to write about us and link to our sites and push the site obviously further up into the Google search engine rankings. So that was kind of my role at Farfetch. It was a very vast and varied role thing. So my point is that what I have done throughout my career is very much relevant to what I do now, and it's given me an insight into blogging from the business perspective, the brand perspective, as well as the individual blogger in itself. Now I'm obviously creating the content myself, for myself, whereas before, if I was ever creating content, it would be for a company. So now I'm doing all of these things by myself, for myself. I got to this point because I had a really awful time with my employer throughout my pregnancy at Farfetch, and towards the end of my maternity leave I just decided that I wasn't going to go back. I didn't feel like there was any way that I could return. I didn't trust them anymore, and I just didn't feel secure. And I think you need to feel secure by your employer, and that's why kind of a lot of people now are in this time where they're like, they don't know what's going to happen next. It's because it's not in their control, it's in their employer's control. And although their employer might feel like it's not even in their control what's happening right now, I feel like the one thing that you have when you are self-employed is just that bit more control. You decide how you're going to react to any sort of crisis. You decide how much more work you can do and how much you might decide to pay yourself or not pay yourself, take out of business or not take out. You know, you just have a little bit more control. And I think that is what I felt that I lacked when I went through the horrible time that I went through with Farfetch. And I came out of it feeling like I couldn't trust anyone anymore, or in terms of like my career. I was like, I need to take control of this now. And I'd also gone to an Elle magazine seminar, which was all about women in the workplace and the institution, and how it's a very male dominated institution that has been designed for men, and really how high up the ladder do you see women with children in these businesses. And I knew that I felt like I don't want there to be a limit on what I'm going to achieve or where I'm going to go. I don't want to feel guilty if I can't come to work one day because my child is sick, or you know. I knew for me, growing up, my parents were both full-time workers, and I wasn't able to get picked up by my parents or dropped to school by my parents. You know, I danced probably 4 or 5 days a week. My grandparents would have to take me to dancing. You know, I'm obviously grateful for everything that I had and the upbringing that I had, but I knew that it was very important for me that I wanted to be able to be present a little bit more for Allegra. So there were just lots of reasons why I knew that I should be going it on my own. I also felt like, you know, in this very digital age, I had all the skills to do it. I didn't feel like, oh my god, but I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that, or it just made sense. And I think I was listening to Gary Vee. If you know, I don't know, I'll link Gary Vee down below or in the description box or something. He's obviously a kind of, to me, he is a content tech marketing guru and entrepreneur. And he was just like, you know, if there's something you're passionate about, he's like, just go and write about it. Write about it online, talk about it, market it, join a community, talk about it with your community. And I was like, I can do all of this. I have been doing all this. I just need to step up my commercial awareness and, you know, make what I'm doing more commercial. And so I just started. I just said one day, I'm not going back to a 9-to-5 job. I am going to do this by myself. I set up my website. Eventually, after listening to Gary Vee and hearing him talk about so much about Instagram, and Instagram is where the attention is. You need to be where the attention is. Of course, there's no point in me having a blog if nobody is reading it. So, or if there's no one who even cares about it or knows of its existence. And where I was so new in the game, like new, my website was obviously very new, and I was still building up my authority and my, you know, like the, you know, I was building up the content. I was building up kind of a SEO like authority. So SEO, I mean, I will explain that in another video or another whatever, but I was just basically, I was building up my website slowly and slowly and slowly, so it didn't have much traffic at the time. And I was like, well, one way to build the traffic is obviously to get onto somewhere where the attention is and make people aware of my website. So I went onto Instagram, and at first I was just posting pictures about Allegra, and like I said, I got not bored of it, but I didn't want to use Allegra as my content because I had so much that I wanted to say and so much that I could say, and I had so many ways that I knew how to communicate, that I was like, I need to start doing something for myself that is, you know, more true to who I am or who I was before I had Allegra. So then I started documenting my style journey and sharing like snippets of my website onto Instagram, and I was just getting a lot of like compliments about my website. I guess because maybe people didn't realise, I don't know, it was just, I mean, obviously I designed a very good website, and it's a very functional website, and it's maybe, and I think, you know, because of my background, I kind of am able to do that almost quite easily. So it you know, because, you know, a website doesn't need to be fancy, but if you want something that is, you know, you want something that's representative of your brand or the business that you're trying to create or who you are. And I knew that I wanted to have a really good high quality website that looked nice. And I think that was kind of where I got a little bit of like, oh, your website's amazing. Oh, your website's this, your website's that. And I think that was one thing that I wanted to make people know, that I'm not just talking about fashion. Well, I am just talking about fashion, but actually I'm a content creator as well. And I'm very like digital focused. So I guess that's where things kind of started for me. I think that's where the business really started to set in, is when I started to push out my website onto Instagram and was getting feedback on my website. And I think that's kind of where things started to click, that I had something that was a little bit, that I could do something with. So I was obviously growing my brand on Instagram, creating my website content on my blog, and just trying to do both things simultaneously. And I use my website as somewhere to kind of house all the key content ideas that I create on Instagram. I feel like my website is the central hub. It is the place, it's what I own. If anything ever happened to Instagram, God forbid, I have my website where I've still got kind of the long form content and the more, I don't know, it's just where, you know, because Instagram is like snippets, like it's in the name, it's instant content. And I've had to adjust to that, because I'm definitely someone who likes to write lengthy captions or articles, and I just like to add a little bit more than pictures. I love, obviously, creating images, although I hate taking pictures myself, but my thing has always been in websites. I know that's probably a little bit old-fashioned, not everybody on Instagram has a website or even needs a website, but I feel like for me, I knew that when I set up my website, I knew I was doing this as a business. I kind of have always wanted to be like a digital publisher. When I started my job at Farfetch, the hiring manager asked me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I always said, I want to run my own digital publishing company. Something similar to like Man Repeller, that sort of thing. That has always been my kind of end goal. If I was going to stay in 9 to 5, I feel like I would have wanted to end up in somewhere like BuzzFeed and then eventually Google. I almost left Farfetch to go and work for the Daily Mail. I know the Daily Mail had employed, I think it was one of the key editors from BuzzFeed, because I noticed there was kind of a similarity in the content in terms of the virality of the content, and that's obviously what's so amazing about BuzzFeed. And I just really wanted to be producing that kind of content, but that was when I saw myself very much 9 to 5 focused. I didn't ever see there ever being an option for me to be going it alone, and I'd always said, oh, I'm going to work freelance, I'm going to be a freelance writer and this and that. I never really believed I would have the opportunity to do it, and it wasn't until I went through that awful time at Farfetch that I was like, I'm just going to do it. And you know, I've just done it. It was just like, I just did it. I set up my website, and the second I set my website up, I monetized my content. And I think when I was blogging beforehand, like I said, like when I first left, like when I was like blogging, I had my little Blogspot blog. I'd always written, I was able to write and work and socialize. I never had any issue with juggling all of the, you know, my day-to-day life. You know, I'm someone who used to go out a lot. I used to go out all the time after work, but I would always have time to work on my blog. What I never did was made it commercial. I never marketed it until I got to the point where, you know, I'd finished my master's. I wasn't pushing it out enough, and I wasn't marketing it enough, and I wasn't doing any optimization. And it wasn't until I started this time round, just 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago, after having Allegra, that I really started to hone my marketing skills to the point where I was making my content a lot more commercial. I was using affiliate marketing. I was going into this as a business, not a hobby, and I was using my website as the place that I would build my brand and build my eventually publishing company. I don't know if it's ever going to get to that point, but that's kind of where I see myself going. At the moment, it's just me. I've had a bit of help here and there. I used to have a video editor. I used to have kind of like a little assistant that used to come and help me out every like 1 or 2 days a week, just helping me with the basic stuff. But now it's just me, and I don't have time to produce. I would love to be putting 3 or 4 articles a day on my website. I don't have the time to do that. But what I am able to do in the meantime is show people what I'm about on Instagram. And Instagram has been crucial to what I do, because it's where I've been able to be part of something, be part of a community, have my own community of people, share my skills, and just make people aware of what it is that I can do. And I think that's what everybody who wants to start out on business needs to do, is go where the attention is. I think the attention is still very much on Instagram, although TikTok is coming up. Well, TikTok is like, it's here. But I do think that, you know, Instagram is still the place, and Facebook as well. But for me, Instagram has just been a really easy place to build a community, and I have not experienced any sort of connection on any other platform. I'm on every single platform. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Pinterest, I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on Instagram. And the connection that you have on, I do feel like it is a real connection. and people do root for you and you find people that you really want to support. And I think that's kind of what you need when you're starting out your business, because there's no point starting a business if nobody knows you're even there. And I feel like Instagram is the place to show people, hello, I am here. And lastly, I thought I'd talk about my business model. So, because I think that's kind of the most important thing. I think, you know, when I went into blogging, like now I see that, before I used to write a blog, now I see myself as a blogger, a content creator, a seller. You know, I just feel like my job involves a lot of things. Sometimes people ask me, oh, you know, what do you want from Instagram? Or I'm just like, I don't want anything from Instagram. I want to build a business that Instagram is a part of, but I'm not trying to be an Instagrammer. I think that I am someone who understands that if you want to own a company or run a company, or you know, I want a business. I'm not trying to be the business. I want to own a business. And I suppose at the moment I am the business, but I'm also trying to build other elements. So my business is made up of affiliate marketing, which is housed on my website. It's also made up of my creativity, which is, you know, producing the content, which is what I love to do the most, and which is what I do mostly on Instagram, because Instagram allows me to have all that creativity that I need. But also then that kind of transfers over to my website as well, which is where the affiliate marketing comes into place. Then I have my products. My products are obviously my bags. And then I suppose also affiliate marketing kind of comes into the products as well, because obviously I talk about a lot of products, which is like fashion pieces or makeup or whatever. So that's kind of products, but obviously they're not products that I own. I only make a commission from those. I don't make a sale from those. And then there is, you know, like the brand awareness. So working with other brands, which obviously helps to raise my profile as a content creator. If I work with brands, it kind of shows that, okay, people like my content, or people like, you know, my audience, or people, you know, that sort of thing. And then lastly would be eBay. Obviously I am a fashion content creator, so I do have to I get a lot more clothes than what I need. So my wardrobe is a constant work in progress. Things come in, things go out, things come in, things go out. So, you know, like let's say we're moving into summer now, the dresses that I had last year, I might probably sell and buy new dresses this year, as opposed to, obviously there are dresses that I have complete sentimental attachment to and I will keep them, but for things that I don't love so much now, I know that I need to replace them with new things. So those are all my kind of, that's my business model. And I suppose out of all of those like elements of my business, the things that make me money now are obviously my bags, my affiliate marketing, and eBay. So yeah, so the affiliate marketing is also obviously like my website as well. So anyone who buys anything through my website that I have kind of linked to, I will make a small commission from, which is obviously not from the buyer's pocket, but from the affiliate marketing platform that I use and the retailer, because I have helped to market their product. And so that is kind of it. Where I do see myself expanding my income streams from would then be through advertising, if I ever decide I want to put some advertising on my site. And then eventually, once I get to the point, obviously I will start charging for kind of like brands, like sponsored posts and that sort of thing. So that is kind of my business model. I was trying to source a handbag for myself because I didn't want to buy a handbag from the high street. I had you know, obviously my budget had completely changed when I decided that I didn't want to go back to a 9-to-5 job and I wanted to work on my own. And suddenly all these like handbags that I was buying, which were like, I just realised I just didn't have the budget for that. Like, I need to be really sensible with my money. I have invested a lot of money into my bags, into my website. I mean, obviously I have to host my website, you know, I have to pay for my domain. I am someone who hosts lots of websites because I design websites for other people, and they are on my, I kind of pay to have that facility where I can design websites and host them. My bags were something that were really representative of me, someone who loved luxury, wanted luxury, but didn't want a luxury price tag. And I obviously sourced this bag in Italy, bought it for myself, and then I was like, this bag is so amazing. It's something that I really want to be able to share with people. And so luckily somehow Christian built a relationship with the manufacturer. The manufacturer is just this independent guy who allows me to do like small orders. A lot of kind of manufacturers and stuff suppliers want you to order like thousands. I don't have anywhere to put thousands of bags, let alone I couldn't afford to do that big order at a time anyway when I started. And also, you know, it just was not feasible. So I'm able to do like a good order, like a good size. Obviously my orders have to be worthwhile, because, you know, if I'm paying £100 shipping from Italy or £50 shipping or whatever it is at the time, I'm not just going to order 10 bags for £100 shipping. I need to be able to order enough to make it worth my while. But in terms of my bags, I've got a really good business model where I'm able to order like kind of, I don't have to put in an order of like a minimum of 1,000 bags. Also, I've been able to have a lot of input because I'm able to talk about design elements. I'm able to say I want this bag in all leather, I want this bag in this leather, I want it in this colour, I want it contrasted, this, that. So I'm really fortunate with the supplier that I have. And I think, to be honest with you, if you're in the midst of this time that we're going through and you want to make money by setting up a business that's going to make money in the next kind of few months, then blogging is definitely not the way to do that. But if you're setting up a business knowing that you're going to have a product or a service that you're going to provide, then I think 100% you still need to get on Instagram, you still need to have a website, but it's the product that makes a difference. The products means that I don't always have to rely on affiliate marketing sales. I don't have to rely on brands paying me, or I don't have to rely on sponsored posts or anyone saying, hey, I don't have to pitch for ads or anything like that. Because I have the bags and they are kind of my main stream of income. They are the thing that I control, as well as my website obviously, but you know, they are the things that is kind of my little bit of saving grace, that I don't have to rely. If a brand doesn't contact me next week to do a collaboration, I can still survive. If my following doesn't grow for a month or 2 or 3 or whatever, I can still survive. If I don't have 10,000 followers, I can still survive. You know, there's people out there with like shitloads more followers than that and they don't make a penny. Like I said, I went into this as a business, and it took me, you know, I had the website, like I said, I monetized my content immediately. And I don't know, somehow my website made some money, and I was like, I haven't even done anything on this website in God knows how long, and I've made this money. I was like, I might as well do this properly. And that's when I kind of rebranded my website. I went from AyeshaAmato.com to my Porter, and I just went in and that's it. I think I've been making money from my website for the past 2 years now, and I've been selling bags for a year. So that is kind of my business model, my business journey, my business story. What kind of motivated me, definitely being a woman and a mum and someone who feels like I don't have any limit on my career. I am a dreamer, but I'm also someone, I don't believe in talking and not acting. So I'm someone who is a dreamer, but I'm actively working every day towards my end goal. I don't know what my end goal is, and luckily that's okay because I love what I'm doing. But I do have, like, you know, I just know that I want to have a site where people are regularly checking in, and they see that as their place to get their information for their fashion. They see that as their place to get their solution. But meantime, I want to build a brand. I want to help women. I believe so strongly in the tech for women and the liberation that technology and digital can give people. If it wasn't for my tech knowledge, I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing now. Even if I've got this qualification, like a master's in fashion and a degree in writing, I would not be doing this, what I'm doing now, if it wasn't for my tech background. I wouldn't be making money from this if it wasn't for my tech background. And I'm not going to say I'm making loads of money. I'm not making a third, or maybe I'm making a third of what I made when I was employed in 9 to 5. But how proud I feel of myself, the achievements, the growth that I've had, is just, it just outweighs everything. It outweighs the money that I haven't made that I would have if I was in a 9 to 5 job. I'm going to wrap this up here because I'm just waffling. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I don't know how I'm going to structure this video, but I hope it has been helpful, and I would love to do more of these. So if there is anything else you want me to help you on, I could do like a whole video on how I do affiliate marketing, or how to monetize your website, or how to monetize your content, or even talking more about my strategy. But you know, that's kind of the video. I hope somehow you've got some value from it. I will try and, you know, I will try and expand on this if I can, in, you know, maybe on my website, or anyone can have a conversation with me, whatever. But I just hope that that has been useful. And I think in this time where we're going through this, you know, I feel like this is the perfect time you know, when we go through difficulty, you know, I went through so much difficulty with my employer, and I've never been someone who has been a 9-to-5 person, but the difficulty that I went through with my last job was enough to make me like leave all my money behind, like leave all my security and my wage at the end of the month behind, to just go and try something different. And it came off the back of being on maternity leave, so I'd already been used to the kind of cut in my paycheck. I had a whole new lifestyle. I was already going into the unknown. One more thing was not going to scare me, and I just did it. And we're all right now in a really uncertain place, and the only thing that we can do is to control what we can. You just have to make the opportunity yourself, and I feel like it's been the best thing that I've ever done. And you know, if you just never believe that you're never going to make it, you always will, and you'll always be making it. And that's how I feel. Even to some people, they might think, oh my god, she doesn't have 5 holidays a year, she's not making it. I have made it, as far as I'm concerned. From where I've come to having, you know, 3 or 4 holidays a year, and being deeply unhappy Monday to Friday, to where I am now, where I wake up every day, I can't even sleep at night because I have so many ideas and so much of what I want to do. And you know, I have one. And I'm just going to keep going. So that's kind of it. I really do, like I said, feel passionately about helping women in tech. So if you have any questions, or there's anything you want to know, you know, I would love to answer them. I am still so new in this thing. Like, I've only been doing it, I say that I've only been doing it for 2 years. I've been kind of on Instagram, but I would say strategically with my brand, my porter and my bags, and what I would say for 2 years I've been really, I think 2018 was the year that was it 2018 or 2019? No, 2018 was the year that I built my foundations. 2019, it was when I put my business head on. And this year, I mean, I don't know what's happening with this year. We don't know where we're going right now. But that's it. I'm just trying to enjoy it a little bit more now. Still obviously working hard, but not working as hard as I was before. I was working like 70 hours a week. Now I'm trying to work like hours, like 9 to 9. So yeah, that's it. I hope that's been helpful somehow. Ciao, ciao, guys.